Welcome to Daily Gems. The gem of the day that I wish to share is the idea of standing up for something when it's unpopular. The individual that I would like to highlight is Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, not a religious reformer, but Dr. King, the one who descended from slaves. This is a man who stood up for injustice until he was assassinated. But what did he do for me as an African American and Black African living in the United States? For the most part, sometimes if we are not attentive enough, you do not learn the history of and the sacrifices of the people that came before you. Martin Luther King is one of those people that I want to highlight. For his dream was to be a preacher, as a Baptist preacher. That's all he ever wanted. But then he fell along and saw the injustice that was happening in the country during those times, that racial segregation and lynchings of Black people was rampant. And what did he do? He just didn't decide to fold his arms. He decided to stand up, even though he was heavily misunderstood by the government and even the people who were supporting the social white supremacy ideas or the white way of living back then. That's how they thought that it needed to be the way it was. But here's what he did that I really liked the most. He understood the mission. He knew that his life was going to be in danger and possibly would be snatched away from him. But guess what? He looked at the vision and he understood that the vision and the mission was bigger than himself. And what did he do? He stood up. He spoke. He was there meeting with civic leaders. He was there going in dangerous places where if he was caught, his life could actually be snatched out instantly. But one thing that I really learned from him is that even though you may be scared, you need to find a way to be able to be rooted to something that is bigger than yourself. Today, I look at him. He died in his 30s, and the average life expectancy right now in the United States is about 80 years old. So he died way before you could actually even see his grandchildren. He never saw any of them. But the impact that he laid as a result of standing up for the people of color and the injustice is unimaginable. One thing that comes to mind as well was that he was the person who also advocated not just for the Black people, but even people anywhere where they thought that they were marginalized. He's the one who said, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. So he was not just looking at the American landscape. He was looking at the world and having a mindset of saying people should be able to stand up and be in positions where they can also follow his examples. He was a leader. He wanted to duplicate himself. But the question today is, how well are we duplicating ourselves by espousing the ideals and ideas that he stood up for? Are we advocating for racism, or are we anti-racists? So there's a big difference there. If merely saying I'm not a racist, as Candy X mentioned, it's not enough just saying I'm not a racist. You have to be actively participating in the decimation of white supremacy ideas and ideals. So to Dr. Martin Luther King, I applaud you, and I know this day is in memory of your life, but I know that your power will continue to live on for centuries coming. Thank you, Dr. King, and our plea to my viewers and listeners out there, let's stand up for something bigger than ourselves. That's all I had for today, and that's the Daily Gem of the Day.